So, there's been things like Flynn knows where the bodies are buried. It's not so much the physical bodies. It's knowing how the intelligence community operates, knowing how the Defense Department operates, knowing how these structures and these organizations actually get away with so much craziness. And, two things that I had done. One I did with Pence, with Vice President Pence, prior to coming in to the Oval, or prior to coming into the White House. So it was just prior to January 20th. And then I did it again. I took briefings on all the black programs, what we call black programs, which I'm very familiar with. I was familiar with many of them while I was the head of DIA. And so I basically, as the National Security Advisor, I'm going to be responsible for all of them. Now, there's different organizations that run them. Black programs, this is a big deal, Donald, because, and for your audience to understand, sort of when we say where the bodies are buried. Black programs are very sensitive, classified programs where nobody has any idea how much money is spent on these things. The money just flows freely. The level of corruption and, frankly, criminal behavior inside of these things, is just extraordinary. Yeah. And so one of those, among many, are what they call findings, presidential findings. And these are the things that if an incoming president isn't aware of these things, trust me, the CIA and the FBI aren't going to tell the incoming president. And so I got partially briefed with Pence. Coming back in, I got a full laydown of every single one of those. Those are things that they do not want anybody to get control of. And frankly, there's a lot of people over in Congress that are aware of some of these. They call it the Gang of Eight, which is a couple of senators and a couple of congressmen, the Speaker of the House, the President of the Senate. These guys get briefed on the majority of these things. So I lay that out because on the 5th of January, and then when you go back to the meeting between Obama and your dad, you have to say, why is Flynn such a threat? Flynn is such a threat because Flynn knows exactly how and where these things are at. Mm-hmm. And if they don't get me out really quickly, so if they didn't get me out when they did, there would have been no Mueller investigation. And I've spoken about this before. So think about that. Yeah. If I had stayed as the National Security Advisor, there would have been no Mueller investigation, none, because none of that bullshit, none of that crap would have seen the light of day, because I would have been digging into that. So they had to get rid of me quickly, and they did in about 3 weeks.